Excellencies, business leaders, and distinguished guests, good morning. My name is Adefemi Akinsoyan, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the African Business Leaders Coalition panel discussion on the art of deal-making and the power of networking when African businesses connect with the world. The African Business Leaders Coalition is, as convened by the United Nations Global Compact, is a CEO-led alliance representing 70 of Africa's largest companies, all of them with the view of tackling the continent's most pressing challenges. I'd like to give you a bit more context on the ABLC. Those 70 largest African companies which they represent together represent 170 billion US dollars in annual revenue. They also represent 1 million employees across 52 African countries. They are quite literally in the business of making Africa faster, stronger, greater. So if you are also in such a business, or if you, an African, would also like to learn how to become faster, stronger, greater, then congratulations. You are in the right place at the right time. And with me as your moderator, well, your prayers have actually been answered. Why? Because we're going to have a great conversation this morning. We will be looking at how the ABLC, definitely highlighting its overarching purpose, but we'll also be taking a look at how it helps other African companies work together through this ABLC. They are building a coordinated private sector response that strengthens business and creates opportunities for collaboration and growth. So to guide this discussion, it is my honor to introduce our panelists. Firstly, we have Dr. James Mwangi, who is the CEO of Equity Group, one of East Africa's largest banking groups, headquartered in Kenya, and he is a co-chair of the ABLC. Ms. Phuti Mahanyele de Bengwa is CEO of Naspers South Africa, a leading South African consumer internet technology and media group. Phuti is also a co-chair at the ABLC. Last but not least, we have Martin Ochieng, who is the CEO of Sasini PLC, a listed agribusiness enterprise in Kenya and a member of the ABLC Advisory Council. With that, let us begin. Phuti, ladies first, I will start with you. You are, as I've introduced, co-chair of the ABLC, and you are a leader of one of Africa's most internationally connected technology and media companies. You have helped shape the coalition's direction. Can you please elaborate further on the overall ambition of the ABLC, and really, in your personal view, what makes it unique?
Thank you very much. It's really good to be here. The ABLC is a grouping that is unique in its form, because this is a grouping of CEOs of African organizations who are focused on sustainability on the African continent. And we are focused on ensuring that we achieve the climate priorities that we are all working towards, and also ensuring that we are focused on gender equality as well. And so from that perspective, I'm very proud of the work that has been done in terms of the climate report that was issued by the ABLC, and also the statement, the climate statement, as well as the gender statement that was issued by the ABLC. And so this is an action-orientated organization. It takes African priorities and puts them together with global standards, ensuring that we can all speak as one voice, focused on success for our economies, but doing so in a sustainable manner, ensuring that over the long term, we can achieve everything that we need to achieve for the youth of Africa coming after us.
Well, thank you very much for your response. Dr. Mwangi, it would be a pleasure to hear from you. We are talking about very, very bold ambitions. This is certainly a huge task that you're coming together to execute. I would ask you to share more about the coalition's key focus areas and really the outcomes achieved to date, especially for our audience.
Thank you very much. The underlying capability of the membership is business. We are all business leaders, and that leader brings diversity at its best It's companies from all sectors, and that diversity becomes our greatest strength. The second thing is representation. I believe we have members in 52 countries across the continent. So essentially, there is representation of all shades, whether it's from regions, countries, and sectors of our economies. And that capability built on a private sector, a platform that is agile, that is driven, that is globally competitive, brings those capabilities to the platform. And essentially then what we are focusing ourselves is securing our future while securing the future of Africa. We are all confronted by an existential threat of climate change. And we have said we can do something about it. And that is what has brought us together, so that to a common objective, to a common purpose that fits us, benefits us, but also benefits the entire African continent.
Thank you very much. Martin, in the introduction I talked about how you lead a Pan-African agribusiness. So it would be wonderful to ask for you to share your experiences working within the coalition. In what ways have you experienced success being a part of this family?
Yeah, so let's cut out the good talk. We came together because we were tired of, somebody else drawing the roadmap for us. So I think it was 2022, 15 of us sat down and said, how do we advance a lot of these SDG and ESG topics without waiting for things like funding from the global north or direction on how to do it from the global west? Because we felt at the time that the best answers to African problems sat with African leaders. And so when we initially sat down, and James, you'd remember this, it was mainly to try and put common goals together and put common effort behind those goals that can then drive success. And it did take us long. When we went to Sharm el-Sheikh, I think it was in Egypt, we had a common idea around taking action on climate and the environment. Today we've delivered, or we continue to deliver on those. 2 years after that, we felt strong enough to take on a second subject, which was the subject of gender equality and equity, towards treating our ladies better in the workplace and in societies where we live and work. Today, we are delivering with common KPIs across all 75 members on that topic. And just yesterday, when we sat down for our annual get-together at this conference, we were thinking about what the third topic is that we can then start to put our effort around together. From a Sasini perspective, that has really helped us, right? I mean, we were in Sharm el-Sheikh in December of 2022. 6 months after that, we rolled out a 1.5 megawatt solar power generation facility in our tea business out of this initiative. And a lot of people followed that example by doing the same in their businesses. And so some of these results are very real in our lives. And when we start quoting the numbers, the traction that we are seeing is a lot better than what we were seeing before 2022 when we were sitting there waiting for guidance and support from elsewhere.
Thank you very much. Phuti, I'm coming straight back to you. We're talking about amplification and influence. I would like to hear your thoughts on how the ABLC has elevated a unified African private sector voice on global stages. And perhaps you could tell us how that visibility has really translated into tangible examples.
Absolutely. I think, as has been mentioned, for instance, with the climate report, we've managed to collate $4.8 billion to be able to deal with climate. And we are just beginning. Yesterday we had a side discussion where we discussed the fact that there's more, even more, that we want to be able to do. And to do so as African organizations, not continuously looking for support externally. And so this is something that is an area of focus. But within our own organizations as well, I'm very proud of the fact that as a South African organization leading one of the largest e-commerce platforms in South Africa, we have now been able to ensure that all of our trucks are electric vehicles. That's the largest fleet of electric vehicles in South Africa. And so in doing so, we are starting to ensure that as African organizations, we are not just asking for what we want, but we are doing what we believe is the right thing to do. It is about ensuring that we continue to achieve success, but that we do so in a sustainable manner. And so I think if you look at all of our organizations, if any of us speak, you'll be able to hear of things that we have actually done within our own organizations in being able to ensure that from a climate perspective and also from a gender perspective and in many other ways that we are really aligned to the SDGs and ensuring that we're able to move forward and be able to position Africa in the best way possible.
Absolutely, and that's the goal. The consensus is a genuine love for Africa. But in as much as we love our continent, we also know that there are unique challenges that befuddle business and progress. So, Dr. Mwangi, if I could ask you about how it is you are planning on translating information and support to business leaders so that they can be best positioned on how to navigate shocks. What type of support can the ABLC offer business leaders?
I think the biggest one is where we tap from the strength of our unity, knowing that you are not alone. It's a very collaborative club, if I may use that word. And essentially what it has built is confidence. The second one is learning from each other, what each of us is doing, not just on gender and climate, but because we are business, how to learn the most competitive, agile businesses, but more importantly, resilient businesses in the world, how to be competitive. So we are all becoming a better organization. If you look the last 2 days, there's been many bilateral meetings between ourselves. And that, again, is the strength. The last one is where we look at sectoral positions. For instance, as in the banking industry, we have really then said we can champion a global reform where private sector is recognized for development financing. And we were able to carry through a resolution at Seville from private sector-led development financing. What that then means is that we have a framework with which to engage our governments across the continent, to engage the African Union, to create space for the private sector to complement government efforts in transforming our continent. So those are the capabilities that none of us can do alone. The second aspect is where we engage the global community as Africa. So the issue of giving ourselves the African voice, the agency, the African agency, I think is the biggest contribution we have achieved together.
Thank you very much. Martin, I do want to ask you, just following on from Dr. Mwangi's points about the importance of collaborating and having a good and open relationship with the government or different countries in order to facilitate, global progress. I would like to ask you how you think ABLC members can be supported to fully capitalize on these enabling environments.
First of all, I think the platform gives us a unified voice to Dr. Mwangi's and Phuti's contributions. So it's probably in the United Nations Global Compact world, the only regional conglomeration of business leaders that then allows us to talk as one, with continental issues that are being addressed through that forum. The biggest advantage of that is the strength in numbers, the strength in ideas that comes from those numbers, but also the ability to put our effort together for scale and impact. Because 15 was the starting number. Today we're at 75. Nothing stops us from being 200 in the future. And so that, as Dr. Mwangi was saying, we're in 52 out of the 54 countries. There's really nothing African we don't know, and there are no solutions that we need from elsewhere. And so those business leaders that are looking for whether it's regional solutions or country-specific solutions or industry-specific, sector-specific solutions, we'll find them within this platform. And so we are very proud of the work we've done, but we've got so much to do. First of all, we have now a very solid platform to engage government, whether it's at home or in the region or in the continent. We have a voice to put our ideas together to talk around things to do with continental importance. For example, the African Continental Free Trade agreement and area. How do we implement this faster? How do we fund this to benefit the private sector? How do we then jump into it to make sure that it is successful, it doesn't remain a pipe dream? For me, that's been the biggest effort.
Thank you very much. And just finally there, Phuti and Dr. Mwangi, when we're looking at all of these conversations, all of these threads that we're trying to put together, ambition, accountability, influence, partnerships, resilience, and trade, I would like to ask what bold actions could redefine how African businesses drive sustainable growth? And really, this is for each. Perhaps, Phuti, you can go first. I would like to find out what your call to action is.
My call to action would be for us to continue with what we are doing now. As the ABLC, what we have done is shown that when African businesses work together, it is almost unlimited what we can achieve, because it opens up the path for us to be able to do more, to be able to engage in a much more productive manner, and to really change the course for the African continent. We have seen governments come together, but to see private sector organizations on the African continent come together like this, how much more can we still do? That is what we are saying when we look at each other. And we are all ambitious. We want to do more because it is not about us. It is about the youth of Africa, the youngest population that we have in the world. It is about ensuring that that youth is able to do more for the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think the biggest opportunity we have as leaders is to lead with courage, is to invest with the purpose as businesses. And it's to inspire Africa so that we are unified in a collaborative manner and urgently. I'm encouraged to see, for instance, we are the business leaders, but the next layer below us of business owners, the African entrepreneurs, 52 of them have also come together and said they want to influence investments, they want to scale capital mobilization, and they want now to focus on development financing. So this framework enables them to engage the African Union, the governments in the country, to underwrite and to undertake development projects. But the most important thing is that vehicle, particularly the listed companies, can then be the channel for taking Africa to the world and bringing Africa to the world. So I would see that we are not alone. We can be the vehicle for bringing people with a common mindset about the transformation of Africa. Those who recognize that a transformed Africa is a sustainable world. And I have seen that with the capital market. We are paving way for global capital to come to the African continent. So it might be because we are using the private sector. And the private sector, all of us, if you look at Equity Bank, we have attracted global capital from all markets and from the most prestigious institutions. So when we invest, then we are breaking the barrier that Africa has been having of investment. So because now they are coming on a different platform. So that is where I think we could really play a very big role. Lastly is to say this is not about business. It's about the African people. It's about the African continent. We need leaders to think more about the future. I believe what we are doing as leaders is to lay the foundation of the future. And we should really be concerned who is taking over from us. The panel that was before us was talking about how the future looks like. We should use this not just for business, but to influence government, for instance, to do what China is doing in terms of introducing AI to our education system, coaching and mentoring our young people, and ensuring that the African demography becomes an informed dividend. If by 2050, 42% of the labor force in the world will be Africans, the question is, how will be the productivity of the world? That will be determined by what we do. So our effort should go far beyond business to knowing that this is about Africa, is about the African people, and we should place them at the center. And that appeals for us then to have maybe to drive our businesses with two engines. An economic engine that helps us to do well, but a social engine to do good, so that we ensure particularly inclusion of women, investment in our youth, and transformation on productivity of our population.
Well, Dr. Mwangi, thank you very much. Dr. Mwangi, Phuti, and Martin, thank you all for, of course you will go ahead and give us your call to action.
A final call to action is,
yes,
as much progress as we are showing on the two topics we've chosen, there's a lot more to be done. We need numbers for scale. We need numbers for that impact. And so we'll keep doing what we're doing. We'll share the successes at this platform. But I think that our work has just begun. And so, yeah, good luck and well done for both of you for some very good leadership in the last 3 years. Let's keep going.
Absolutely. I think that's an excellent place for us to end this conversation. Thank you all for participating. And thank you to our wonderful audience for listening to what has been such insightful conversation. Thank you all. And if you do want to find out more about the African Business Leaders Coalition, please do find any member of your UN Global Contact Team, and they'll be happy to foster more conversations. My name is Adefemi Akinsoya. Thank you very much.